Okay, good morning, guys, and good afternoon. It depends where you're joining from. So, as usual, it's a pleasure for me to talk to you. So, my name is Tony Tiu, your Africa Clean Energy Champion. And today I want to talk to you about a topic that is of great interest, right? Because one thing that we know is that, one second. So, my name is Tony Tiu, your Okay, I just have to fix something very quickly. So, as I was saying, so we're going to talk about a topic that's of a great interest as usual. And you will see today I have a different decor, right? So the background is a little bit different. And you figured out is because we want to talk about solar, isn't it? Because what I was saying is recently I've noticed that in my neighborhood where I live, in pretty much wherever I go, I can see more and more people installing solar, right? Whether you're talking about household or you're talking about businesses. And that's actually very interesting because 5 years ago, it was a completely different picture. And then, as you know, people usually reaching out because they are interested to go solar, but they don't always have the right information. And essentially, a lot of people are hesitant, right? They don't know whether they should go for direct ownership or whether they should go for leasing, right? So, and they're not sure what are the pros and cons about the two. And what I thought we do in this conversation today, it's just to have a view at what it is, right? What are the difference between the two, and which one should you be choosing, depending on what you really want to do. So let me share my screen. That's why I have a different decor today, right? Because I want to share my screen, and then we can talk about that. So let me just do that as I speak right now. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I believe now you can all see my screen. Yeah. So if not, definitely let me know in the comment box. Oh, by the way, before I start that, I'm just gonna say, if you are new to the channel, so make sure that you subscribe right to the button below and also press the bell notification. Why? Simply because when we have a new video like we have it today, this allows you to be notified, and you can make sure that you jump on it. You can either attend it live, just like some of you will be doing now, or watch it later on. And feel free to ask your question either right now in the comment box or later on. So we're also gonna talk and discuss about that. So as I was saying, so normally when a customer wants solar, that customer could be a household or it could be a business. So they usually will have, I would say, two choices in terms of the ownership. In fact, they're more than that, but I'm just going to simplify that, right? So the first one is the direct ownership. What does that mean? It means that you, the customer, will actually own the system. So you're simply contracting a solar supplier or solar installer, more precisely, to come and install it on your roof, or it could be on your land if you have enough land space to do that. So, and the other one, obviously, it's the third party or leasing that we're going to see in a few minutes. But the question for you is, what is the advantage of going from this option as opposed to the other? And that's why I wanted to talk to you about, so that it's actually very, very clear. So let's look at that straight away, shall we? Okay. So the first advantage, so going for a direct ownership, and that's the whole purpose of you going for solar, is that it kind of, if you are able to afford the system, it definitely will lower the cost of your electricity. Why? Because it means that whenever you're having a sunny day, so depending where you are living, if you are in Europe or in Africa, definitely it's yeah, lots of sunny days, right? In Europe, it depends. In Southern Europe, obviously it's quite sunny. The more up north you go in, the lesser you have solar, but you still have it. But what I'm trying to say is actually when your system it's operational, where you have enough light, you're having free electricity that you can get, right? And if you have enough sunny days during the year, ultimately what you will see, your bill should be coming down because you're taking straight advantage of the solar. And that's what is good. So that's why we call it low cost of electricity, because you're only reverting back to the grid whenever the solar system won't give you enough power. The second option, and it also depends in different countries, because you have some tariff, feed-in tariff that are applicable in some countries, whereby when you have a clean energy system, like for example a solar system, you can collect some credit, right? You can collect some credit from your local government, and that credit, right, is either money that going into the bank that is deducting from your bill, or it could be a credit that you can apply later on. So that's quite nice. So that means by installing a solar, you're getting some renewable energy credits wherever they're available. So that's a great benefit to have, right? So for the ownership. And also, it means that if you have access to a very cheap loan or cheap debt, because normally when people want to install solar, because I would say solar is this, there's still some money upfront that you need to put up, as you will see in the cons, the drawbacks that are listed here. So you essentially, when you say you need to finance the system, it either needs to come from your straight pocket. Either you have a lump sum money that you were keeping aside, that's great. You can directly inject it into the project, and that's it. Good and done and dusted. You can just carry on with your system for the next 25 years. Or, like many people would do, you actually contract a loan to be able to finance this. But for you to be able to do that, you need somebody that needs to lend you money at a very a good rate or low rate, right? And it's sometimes possible, because nowadays, as I say, more and more people installing solar. So investors, funders becoming quite familiar with the system, hence they're able to give you some cheap debt. So that's what I'm saying. If you can use that, then that's great. And because you're doing that, if you're your business and you're installing solar, if you possess the premises, and that's great, because that's going to increase the value of the asset, the real estate asset. And same thing as obviously if you're if you're an owner, a homeowner. So now, in terms of the cons, the first one is, as I was just talking about, you need to put up some money. So just to give you some context, if you want to install, for example, a 4 kilowatt system of solar, right? So depending where you are, but that will cost you something between $6,000 and $10,000, right? So, and this is not always easy for people to finance it from their own pocket, right? So that's quite a lot of money that needs to be injected, that needs to be invested, and that is not always possible. And I can imagine the bigger the system, the bigger the money, isn't it? Yeah. So that's what you want to be doing. For example, if you have a 1 megawatt system, so obviously now the cost of solar is coming down. It's been reducing by 80% for the last 10 years. But still, for a 1 megawatt system, for example, in your business, you'll be thinking about something that I would say between $700,000 and $800,000, right, for the system. So if you have that money that you can inject directly, that's great. But most likely, you will need to finance it. The upfront cost could be, as I say, a deterrent. So also the fact that solar, yes, will last for 25 years, or even more these days. But it will only happen if you manage it well. So you have to manage the system. You have to make sure that, okay, the good thing with solar that we don't say enough is like the operating cost. Yes, the upfront money, the upfront cost, it's significant, not negligible, but in terms of the operational cost over the lifetime of the system, it's quite minimal compared, for example, for a diesel generator. But still, you have some cost there, and you have to manage it. So that means if your idea was simply to have power and to carry on with your job, so that may be a little bit cumbersome for you. So that's one thing you need to do. The other thing is maintenance costs. Yeah, I was talking about that. You need to maintain the system for the system to be able to last. And normally the system should be able to give you 25 years, yeah, of lifetime. But that's for the panels, because other two systems that are fundamental, you have the inverter, right? The inverter, that is what is converting your DC power into your AC power. And most of the appliances that we're using in home or in a business using AC power, alternative current, right? So the inverter is a critical component that makes the transfer, the conversion. And that inverter, the lifetime usually is 10 years, right? So you can see that even for 25 years, you need to change it at least twice. But if you maintain it well, you can actually extend the lifetime of it. Yeah. But if you don't, as you can imagine, it will be reduced, right? So, and another one is the battery. So most of the time, if you're grid tied connected to the grid, you won't need a battery. But if you have the battery, obviously that's an additional additional cost. You also need to maintain it, because battery these days, I think it varies a lot who is the manufacturer. But you can think of on average 5 years, right? So that's a lifetime. Yeah. So, and development risk, yes, because as I say, when you're contracting somebody to come and install solar, but all you would do is come and install it, right? So you pay him and install it. But the developer basically setting up all the project, it's at your it's sort of your responsibility, right? To make sure that you check that you have the right permit to do it. So, for example, if you're doing that on the roof, yes, normally if you have a good installer, he will have looked at will assess the quality of your roof to see whether you can still install a good solar system in there. But what I'm trying to say is that those development fees, they are yours. You still need to assume it, right? So that's why sometimes when somebody gives you a quotation for a system, make sure that you ask him what it does include. Is it just the installation, or all the preparation work ahead of it is also taken into account? Very important. Last but not the least in here is the performance risk, right? Because when you're having a system installed, so normally a good system should give you should tick a certain level of boxes. For example, you should have an 80% availability for the system. Okay, what does that mean? I'm sure most of you don't know what I'm talking about here. What I'm saying is actually, if this system is well installed, right? So that means looking at the time when the system is meant to be functioning, you want to make sure that 80% of the time, yes, that system it's available for you to use. Yeah, so that whenever you have, for example, good sons, you don't want to find out, oh, for example, I'm limited by this and this component, meaning that the system cannot work at that time where, for example, the sun is out, right? So that's an example of performance standard that the system needs to meet. But what I'm saying is, yes, direct ownership is great. You limit, you own the system. You know, the electricity is low, but as you can see, there's quite a number of engagement involvement that needs to go into that. And if this is not your business, it can be a little bit daunting, isn't it? Right? So that's why direct ownership, yes, but you need to know what you're talking about and to see whether you are equipped. Is it good up to now? Okay, that's great. So if that's great, please do me a favor. Just leave a comment down below to say, yes, Tony, that's great. I absolutely understand what you're talking about. Or maybe I don't understand anything. I want you to slow down a little bit for the next video. And I'll definitely make sure that's how I do that. Or if the subject is boring, you can also let me know, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm just going to carry on and assuming that everything is clear for you guys, right? So that'd be great. So let me first of all also stop in here for a minute. I just want to see, is there any comments? I don't think there is any comments. I've not seen any comments. So I'm just assuming, I'm just going to assume that we are good to go. Okay. So let's go back. Let me start again sharing the screen. So now the benefits, I just want to say, I'm just going to take some question after that if there was any question. So of a third-party ownership, that's also what I call the leasing, right? You can also call PPA, but let's simplify that a little bit more. What are the benefits? The third party is very simple. What you see in the picture telling you that you are the customer, as I'm showing here. Yeah, you calling on somebody else to come and install the system on your roof or on your land, and that person will assume everything. You have nothing to do. You're just waiting for the system to be all installed, to be functioning, and now you start paying. And now you're going to have a contract with that person. It's either a leasing contract or a power purchase agreement, right? So that's essentially what it means. Yeah. So it's simply like the kind of a contract you have that your I would say your traditional utility. Depending what country you are, to national utility, the company that provides you electricity, you may not be realizing, but that's the kind of contract you have with them. Okay, it's probably not leasing, as said, as such. It's more a PPA type of thing. But the leasing, it work in a similar fashion. So you have that person that assume everything, all you do are you paying. Now, what are the benefits? I'm sure you can already figure out what the benefit could be of such a system. But let me walk you through that. You have no upfront cost. Yeah, you pay nothing. That person install it, does everything. The installation cost is his. The development cost is his. The maintenance cost. That's great for you. You have nothing whatsoever to pay. No operational maintenance. As I'm saying, that's not your job. It's with a person called your developer, right? He look after that. There's also low risk for you because if the system is not installed, so if it's not working well, you don't pay anything. Just as simple, right? That's what I mean. And also predictable payment, because whether you're having a leasing, if you have a proper leasing contract, you would agree with the person a certain amount that needs to be paid per month, right? So if it's a PPA, which means simply power purchase agreement, so you're going to be paying a certain amount for each kilowatt hour that you consume, right? So it's kind of predictable. And also because if the system has been installed well, the developer or the contractor, whoever has installed that for you, should tell you roughly what kind of consumption you could be expecting, and pretty much for every month. Yeah, so that's it. And also there is obviously this is more if you're a business, because if you're investing in such a system, clearly there's some tax benefit associated to that, right? Because obviously, as you can imagine, you are tapping into green energy, green economy. You're helping the whole society. That's great. On top of that, you're investing into an asset for your company. Clearly, there's some tax benefit there. So that's and that's great. So you see lots of benefit. Now, as anything, you also have some drawbacks for that. Yeah, and the drawbacks that we could see for this one is that you don't get to keep the renewable energy credit, right? So this is the prerogative of the developer or the person who has installed it. So he's the one who can claim it, not you, because all you're doing, you're just consuming the power. And yeah, so I think if the investor has done his job well, right? So, and also depending on the territory where you are, you can have a great return on investment. That's what ROI stands for. I'm sure you all know that. And basically, and the reason I'm saying that leasing options, so it's not always available in every country and every area. You want to be maybe checking that, especially the power purchase agreement arrangement, right? So you want to check in your country to see whether it's available. Most of the time, leasing should be available for almost everybody, almost everywhere, but power purchase not really. But also in some countries, basically the sector has not been liberalized, not just yet. You can only have a public sector entity or company that can engage in the into the commercialization of power, of electricity. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not always available, so you want to be checking that it is good for you. So yes, that's where I want to stop. That's where I want to stop, because I've spoken a lot, and then yeah. So I just want to know, is there any comment? If there's any comment or question right now, I can respond to that. Otherwise, I can close the meeting right now. So I'm just gonna, because I know I'm using Zoom, but at the same time, I'm obviously projecting on YouTube. There's a little bit of delay. So I'm just gonna wait to see if there was a question. So if yes, that's great. Otherwise, we may have to call it a day for today. Yeah. So, but however, as usual, it's great to have you and watching the channel. It's great to have you supporting. So keep doing that. Keep asking questions. Yeah, keep engaging, and we'll be very happy to see you on a daily basis. Right? Okay, that's great. I'm not seeing any questions, so I believe everything is clear. So what I'm simply going to say it's yes, as usual, we're going to be here for next week with a new topic. As you can see at the moment, I'm looking at what are the best format that works for you, because I want to be able at time to show you some slides, yeah, so they can get more information. Is that okay? Okay, perfect, great. So yeah, that was it for today. So I hope you had a great time. So let me wish you a fantastic day, and then as I say, may the sun be with you. That's